4 Mools. Period. I don't understand why he said period here. Chris raised her head and put on a sweet smile. There is a need to make you understand who has the lead. We only buy affordable stairs. And everyone who's scrambling about, trying to avoid the collapsible stairs at all costs, were the only ones who had the power to take them in. As such, it was very obvious who the game maker was, and everyone knew it. However, understanding your mind and understanding your bones were two very different things. Understand was saying very now in my bones. For Mools, at that price we will buy. It's not the starting point for negotiations. 4 Mools. She repeated her words once more. Are you aware at that price it would be the same as just buying the HQ? On dangerous positions worth beyond 30 billion, they currently hold hundreds of thousands of financial derivative products that can't be evaluated. It's not as if this number is completely unfounded. Besides, there would also be a huge payment awaiting you. Besides, how you would never ever say that Ball Stairs' position of sane and sound, right? Exactly. Because convinced that everything would be outright collapse. Precisely in that position, I would have had to bet. I came to tell her to evaluate them loosely. So Chris bought booze with a sympathetic move. No matter how you look at it, what I came here to do was clearly insane. Whereby it doesn't go smoothly, the lunar surface will collapse, you know. My words, a smile disappeared from Chris's face for the first time. Just when she was about to drink one more sip, she slowly moved a beer away from her mouth. No way. That would never happen. It will go smoothly. How are you able to say that? Because everyone thinks the lunar surface is going to collapse like that. She is betting on her surety that it will not fail. She smiled, her mouth forming an ominous crescent shape. I shuddered, staring back at Chris. As soon as they start themselves looking to want to sell themselves to, the result was already decided. The problem is not the price. In principle, rather than selling a company for 4, liquidating a company like that might allow the shareholders to recover more money. However, this hinges on the hypothesis that after bankruptcy, the economy would still be stable. The collapse of the assets would all disappear along with the company. With the situation as it stands, the deal is already settled from the very beginning. In order to gain what money they can, they have to sell, whatever the price. Chris said that with a sad smile on her face. Did you forget why something like ABS sold? Everyone wanted certainty it provides. Everything is uncertain, vague, full of risks. So even if it's a lie, they wanted reassurance. 4 Mools, period. Really. I'd like to congratulate me for not saying 1 more. Chris said those words. She started folding a paper bag neatly. I could do nothing but stare at her. It was like a metaphor for a conversation being at an end. Folded up for good. But as she currently was, I had to tell her this. Did she forget why 4 years ago I was able to outwit your program? People don't act according to a math. But it's always illogicality, emotions. But I know that. Now having finished folding the paper bag, she was shaking the beer bottle slightly, making an annoying sloshing sound. But what I'm saying is our rationality will win. No. She stood up looking down at me instead of his words. I have faith that it will win. This is how deals work. No one can say for certain whether it will go smoothly after all. Won't you even think about raising the probability of winning? If you express certain concern for your party, you might even get concessions from them. By raising from my 4 Mools to 8 Mools, I was going to do that. I could keep my mouth shut until the very last minute, the last second before announcing our bankruptcy. Extending the hand of salvation right after that would be so much more effective after all. So it was a mistake to our point of what we did, but we raised our hand too quickly. Time to think over things, everyone to think about making a little more profit. Even though it's obvious to everyone but Wall Stairs can't get out of this on their own, it's so weird. I hate this way of thinking. This is a deal. Why can't you be more rational? I mean, is there something wrong with being rational? Chris. I couldn't help myself from whispering her name. Here she was, a woman who followed through capitalism to its logical limit. or at least remastered rationalism to an extreme. She was scolding and sneering at people lost in their emotions. I had no words that could convince her. Maybe Risa could. Thought crossed my mind, but Chris would only be wounded by Risa's persuasion. She'd probably not change her mind. It's because I could agree with what Chris was thinking. I wouldn't use methods that trampled on other people's thoughts. It certainly wasn't because I cared for the other person. Because I was convinced it was more efficient to use people without trampling on them. Chris closed her eyes, took a slow breath and exhaled. She gazed at the altar for a while, chuckling as she was laughing at herself, before lowering her gaze. If the lunar surface collapses, I'm sorry. You're going to apologise, but I won't budge from 4. She raised her face, looking at me. Oh my god, that is beautiful. She had something like an embarrassed smile on her face. Just like I'd seen 4 years ago, a smile and at the same time tears. Because in the back of my mind I recalled what she said 4 years ago. I want to live however I want to. I couldn't tell whether I spoke those words or whether or not Chris did. Chris looked at me with a grin. That was all. That was all it took for Chris to stop crying. She overcome her doubts. She raised her glasses, wiping her face with her hand, and the tears stopped flowing. She sniffed, took a deep breath, and picked up the tablet to call someone. It's over. Please send a car. And she didn't recall. Chris wiped the corners of her eyes once more before walking out. I could only follow her with my eyes as she left. Without turning back once, Chris reached over the door of the church. I had an impression she left this place she would never ever come back. No, that was probably her intention. This was precisely a reason for picking this place to ask for my advice. Chris must have thrown me all the words she'd been hiding deep in her heart. Words she couldn't say even within E.J. Rockberg. Without a shred of deception, hesitation, or even shame or guilt. Because she still had a thing for me. Oh, always about you, isn't it? Chris! I called out her name. She stopped moving, startled. And just like that, she opened the door as I was about to leave. But as she was about to cross the hallway, she turned back to look at me. She was smiling. Let's meet again somewhere, okay? She said this in a relaxed tone. She then turned her back to me. I shall walk my own path. By completely cutting off her lingering affection for me. That Chris left abruptly. It was all over so suddenly. It was very instant. Chris's success was the success of her comrades. And her comrade's praise was the only praise she would receive. 8 years ago, because I was nearly a cripple, Chris had come to my house timidly at a word from Risa. In 4 years, she'd been by my side and helped my rehabilitation. It was really a short time, but also did one thing she wanted more than anything. Investing together with her. On top of that, she even said she loved me. She was smart, timid, but with strong convictions. She had this dream of living as she pleased. Something that a selfish person acting as they please would never think about. But Chris had finally made that dream come true. Her timing couldn't have been more perfect. I guess if we met her in town, we could chat like we used to and even have dinner together. If it came to it, we could even maybe work together on some small things. But now, my life and Chris's would certainly not be tied together. Ever. I was now convinced of it. Just like Eleanor went to come to the orbital base to settle things once and for all, Chris had become a person of the past now too. Strangely enough, I didn't get any sense of loss or despondency, either from the fact I'd failed in persuading Chris, or from the fact that Chris had finally left my side. I only had a feeling that things were meant to be this way, like a sensation of satisfaction at the pieces of falling into place. Now left alone in the church, I shook the small half-full bottle of beer lightly. Everyone was going forward. I grinned wryly as I thought about it, but Isaac and Risa told me the same thing 4 years ago. After laughing for a while, I heaved a small sigh. So now I was the only one left who had not completely given up the past, huh? Called Gazanik on the phone, told him the result of negotiations. Obviously I didn't tell him about planning a coup d'etat with E.J. Rockberg, but I told him it would likely end him back out. We would keep him that in mind when negotiating with him. Gazanika seemed to be at loss for words, but he answered, understood. There probably wasn't anything else he could say in this situation. I cut the phone, turned off the lights in the room, closed the doors and left for church. I also wanted to settle scores for what happened 8 years ago. But I didn't know how to. The next day, just as the market opened, bull stairs reached its limit down, falling to 70% at 8 Mools. The selling trend was strong. There was no sign of it reverting at all. I spent the whole night trying to find out a way to counterattack, but in vain. The positions related to real estate were too big. The smell of rot was far too strong to be erased. If the market closed with the help of a deep drop in the bull stairs, it was so bad they might even see the light of day next day. There was not a second to lose. Amidst all this, E.J. Rockberg acted in display was definitely just what you'd expect from them. They called Bull Stairs VP, in a total panic, and we delivered a message. The preparations were done, they could provide them with the funds at any time. They told her in a very simple, straightforward way who had the money. Bull Stairs had now 2 options left. Take their pride and crush their company, thus carving their names into history as the ones who put the economy in chaos. We've spoken of forevermore as an unlucky company bought out for steal. The VP had been dragged into this mess by staying on Lunar's surface. The lucky shareholders who invested in Bull Stairs, on a whim, finally made a decision, rarely seen on Lunar's surface. They gave in to common sense and ethics. Bull Stairs waved a white flag and surrendered. It had been 3 days since the VP called Gazanik on the phone, scared out of his wits. If the facts were to be trusted, it seemed like it had been only 5 days since it had been figured out something wasn't going well. Everyone involved was in a daze, wondering if such a thing was even possible. Since the Bull Stairs were bought out by E.J. Rockberg, the bleeding in the capital seemed to cease. The nighttime market and the European market which followed was some measure of a rebound. The worldwide economy was saved just as everything was about to collapse. In the meantime, the Department of Bull Stairs that we'd been specifically trying to save notice for the office and Wallace's office, the insurance payout was over 1.1 billion. Felt like I'd wandered into a labyrinth of mirrors. Felt like something akin to a car sickness, wondering exactly where in the world we were doing. Now I'm sure you're aware why I called this meeting. I say to his words, I looked up from a news programme about Bull Stairs' lightning strike and power struggles with E.J. Rockberg. The Conservatives who had taken notice of the situation must have leaked information. But all that was to do was to create an established fact. The executive regarded as centre of this coup d'etat was a man I didn't know. You can see Chris appearing here and there, her face on the side looked tense, like you might expect to see from an affair. The good old Ballsy looked after trouble. There's still a whole mountain of headaches to fix. You mean my next target, right? Well, it's the only one who didn't look away from the TV embedded in the wall as he spoke. Well, the problem in my place is you're a field after all. Where snorted, finally looking away from the TV, before slowly closing his eyes. At Stacey's office, with her were Marco, Wallace, Maria and myself. 5 in total. Mr. Gazanik had a lot of questions for me. It's not like a Bull Stairs issue would happen again. Should the government intervene? And if so, how should I go about it? We are civilians, you know. Well, then again, we do have something from the government amongst us. It really was, if only by name, a member of the advisory committee in economic matters. I'm really sorry to make a call to a job after work market but gaining money. After all, marketing is such a stage, you can make a good profit. As we were illustrated by Stacia's words and Maria seated next to him, well, it's snorting a perfect picture of a stubborn old man. It was nice to be caught on my situation. I was called out to negotiate the whole thing with ballsy. The illustration is also in shambles now. A medical report coming out and more people going back to Earth. Oh, I knew it. Stacia, he was a sigh at Marco's words. Stacia finally found somebody who understood. It's not pretty at all. The staff is running away, and amongst the ministers only 1 or 2 are left. I guess they forced everything upon my underlings, they ran for the hills. Guess no one expected things to turn out like this. So that's completely irresponsible, don't you think? In the end, I guess there are only a few people who truly love this place. Stacia used the golden pipe, tapped the lighter on his desk. On top of that, this is of course true about the administration. Since everyone from the MPs to his cleaning personnel were pawns of the same corporation, trying to ask questions carelessly will just make the situation impossible to control. Relief from the government, huh? We sounded extremely annoyed as he sighed, and resumed talking. I'll get right to a point. If I had to sell short right now, I'd go for Howard Brothers. Can I hear you reasoning? First of all, their scale. Their second biggest major bank in the field after Platinum Smith. 1.5 times in size larger than Bull Stairs. That means that if they were about to hop over, they need something that goes beyond what we did for Bull Stairs. But my gauge is set to a TV. The biggest bank on lunar surface is already done with its shopping. They can't count on a rear guard. They're a perfect target for short selling. Exactly, if a bank bigger than Ballsy ever went up in the same situation as they, would be a single pace capable of saving them. In that case, it would mean either collecting funds after several financial institutions and co-financing, or get a stake to barge in. Marco's words, Stacia slowly nodded. Yes, but on the lunar surface, such a thing is unprecedented. Even if a principle from precedence on Earth, I don't think we'd ever have anyone who actually knows what we can do, or what we need in order to do it. In that case, we need to make preparations for what we can. It's possible something like Ballsy collapsing in 5 days, thinking about it. It's happening, won't be quick enough. Is there any other reason why Howard Brothers have become a target? There's always the appetite is the highest. It's Howard Brothers who display the cheapest prices for protection and real estate. In other words, we're most adamant about taking risks. Stacia tilted her chin slightly at my words, urging me to continue. Howard Brothers have been journal number 2 in the field. Plus, I mean, no one knows if they're true or not, but don't people say they got CG'd? Picture of the office, or your number 1 company, Platinum Slips collapsing? I think you, Miss Stacia, know better than we do what happens when a company like that gets their hands on the Holy Grail. Oh yes, I did mention that. I will certainly abuse it. Stacia shrugged and spoke. Do you think we're actually in trouble? West closed his eyes, making a wrinkle so huge in his forehead, getting a hanging entire ballpoint pen there. In a strained voice he spoke. It must be hell. I was fully in agreement with this. Right before New Age development collapsed, it was none other than Howard Brothers who set with Fudce to max speed. In the end, protection had bought through New Age had turned into a position worth nearly 100 million. Protection they got for nearly nothing as a bonus, which turned into believable amounts of money. Before the insurance money was to be paid, it would easily be worth 200 million. I would most not be the only beneficiary. Stacia spoke and smiled. Men, you think they might get into a tight spot? The question was addressed to a hardcore short seller who made a huge profit from exposing companies with rotten innards. What's the feared look in his face? Probably because he was itching to pass orders to tell of his very instance. That would depend how much they were aware of the reality of things. How? Please explain. It means that right now, it's impossible to raise enough capital in time. When acting as a bank runner started, gathering funds is nearly impossible. But before it happens, it's still salvageable. Either by paying significant interests or issuing a stock at discount, it's not very difficult to gather a decent amount of money. By piling up more funds, it shows they're sitting a mountain in cash. they should be able to handle a certain level of turmoil. Therefore, it becomes possible for them to untouched from their surroundings. There's a reason for not doing so. Okay, I cast my gaze down. They imply quite expensive costs. I mean, we're talking about being ready to pay the insurance money when the time comes. After that, it's a matter of pride. But until now, I've been choosing to sell insurance rights. I made light of it, for I never thought it would come to this. Such foolishness. While I spat those words, real estate companies are collapsing every day. People are fleeing the lunar surface and going home. And even worse, funds are being poured out of the lunar surface, and credit spread keeps on expanding. To top it all off, because of the ABS and CDO things, the financial institutions on Earth are suffering huge losses. The moon might well have bombed then. Investors who have seen us getting scared, pulling back all their cash. Thing is, the cash company actually needs to run a shop is disappearing from our market. Clearly a second bull stairs will appear, or even a third. The question left are is when it will happen, and where. Bet it's a short study, you can't stop yourself from drooling. What's the worst killjoy for you? Obviously when a government barges in. In my experience, no matter, it's examples of this I'm putting on Earth, but are you seriously thinking about using that method? Do you think we should joke about it? It's possible that everything could be blown to kingdom come if someone doesn't stop it to save a day. MST likely? Most likely we're in such a situation. In a doubt here we can rely on the time when government will be the only place to rely on. Sage's tone was somewhat must have experienced with many occurrences on Earth. The method is obvious. Open a gate to a central bank. Make the rotary presses work. Print banknotes with no limit. Either bio or toxic claims within paralysing financial institutions. Or loan on unlimited funds. This will solve trust issues. Mark and I swallowed hard. Beware of this as an option. I used to say we'd read about it in school books. Quantitative easing. But to actually voice it sound like a complete breach of the rules. It's so simple and foolish. Just flip the pages of a code of law, find relating articles of law and use it. You just press a key on the central bank's dedicated terminal. Use print input 100 million balls, even trillion, or in more zeros. When no memory about amount, cash will increase the assets of column of the central bank's balance sheet to match the debt on the other side. That's all there is to it. Then transfer that amount to the account of every financial institution that has in the central bank. With that, I'll be able to wipe out the debts on a source of our plights. It's all mere data. It's not even going to cost one more expenses. That couldn't be true, could it? Felt like I just heard a well-spun tale. Part of more banknotes printed without restriction. That's making us lose our minds right now. The government controlled rules of this game like a god. From their point of view, they can probably print banknotes with no end, worth less than the paper they were printed on. Of course, if we resorted to such unruly ways, the supply of currency would increase in one shot. I'm sure some currency would be lost. But would most likely bring about terrible inflation. Inflation was the depreciation of the coinage price. Inflation led to a valuation of money drop by 20%, meaning that saving value of a savings bank would drop by 20%. Especially on the lunar surface where everything hinges on imports, if the currency value dropped by 20%, this meant that every imported product would become 20% more expensive. In words, the lunar surface as a whole will become 20% poorer. And if we could pass it on as expenses, those are incredible expenses, in the end, if we segregate for crisis now, we'd only be staying it up temporarily. Is there a way to avoid inflation? Sage's question well shrugged. Modern currencies have no backing by actual assets such as solid gold. What's the value of currency based on? Mostly the government's ability to collect taxes. The same government is using that currency. Same thing as an example of that price of fish on Lone Island. If there's 1 fish on the island and 100 moors, the highest payment that could be accepted will be 100. If there are 200 moors, it would be possible to pay 200. In other words, more moors are in circulation, more prices would go up, and more value of those moors would decrease. So the government had its own income, expenditures, the concepts of balanced surplus and deficit are also applied. In case of surplus, it meant the moors taken from a market were piled up in the coffers. In the case of a deficit, the men would start pay by printing more banknotes. When they were black, moors in circulation would be reduced. Their valuation of the moor would increase. When in deficit, more moors would be in circulation, so their value would decrease. That line of thinking was an unavoidable conclusion one would reach. I finally understood why Wallace looked like he was despairing. There's one way to avoid this crisis. You could spin a rotary press of a central bank, We print banknotes with no restriction. This in turn would cause inflation and make the lunar surface poor. To avoid inflation, we would have to improve a balance of the government's income and expenditures by collecting taxes. But this isn't Earth. Good words as a curse. If you raise the tax rates, people would flee the lunar surface at once. There are no resources on the land on the lunar surface. There's one thing attracting people beyond that reason, it would be freedom. I see. The trump card to protect the lunar surface would be, at the same time, the final blow to end it. This place exists to think of people's dreams, but money is a fantasy that helps it exist. What should we do then? All we can do is pray. This coming from a short seller who did not even fear God. But no problems will occur. Upstairs was a poor boy that stumbled into a china shop. And we could somehow get the first one to leave. There's something like a buzzing in their ears, the sad winging of balls, you hear from afar. At least the stock market was something knowing less than a powerful than a prayer. I'm going to start the next day with how the world is looking like for sale next episode. So as guys, thank you very much for watching. I know it's been a bit of a longer episode, but there's been so much going on, I just wanted to carry on talking. Bye bye.